Chapter 623. I just finished. The doctor said that the child is very good. He has a hip position and no umbilical cord around his neck. He is only 5 days old. The ultrasound list now shows 37 weeks of acceleration. Xianyun said softly. Ever since the misunderstanding was solved, and Hu Liancheng accompanied him day and night, Xianyun could feel that the baby in her belly also liked him by her side. She had no reason to ignore him. All right, rest well. I'm about to get on the plane. Hu Liancheng could not help but feel excited when he thought of seeing his wife and son soon. He asked again, Duoer, are you going home now? The weather at Green Lake is not good today. He continued, the weather in Green Lake isn't good. It's snowing tomorrow. Don't walk around outside. Go home early. Sun Feng trembled again when he heard that. The devil did not like to talk in front of his company and his subordinates. If he could solve the problem with one word, he would not say another word. He didn't expect the boss to be so long-winded in front of that woman. The people of Liao family and Mu family were really blind. They even wanted to ruin the relationship between the Devil King. They had all been punished. Oh, I have an appointment with someone. I will go home after meeting them. Xianyun's voice was still soft. She did not object to Hu Liansheng's words, but she did not explain much. This was the way she had interacted with him recently. She still had a thorn in her heart, and felt that it was a thorn in her heart. She felt that it was because she fell in love with him too easily in the past that he hid everything and did not tell her anything. So even though Xianyun no longer hated him in her heart, she still had a trace of resentment, which was why Xianyun was still indifferent to Hu Liancheng. Invited someone to meet? Who is it? Male or female? Do I know her? Does this person have any intentions towards you? Hu Liancheng's heart immediately rang with alarm, but he could not directly ask who Xianyun went to see. He could only try his best to keep his voice calm as he asked, Oh, you have an appointment. Then let Cheng Mu send you there. With Cheng Mu's around, he could feel more at ease. At least he knew who Xianyun was going to see. No need. Someone is coming to pick me up. Xianyun had just finished speaking when she seemed to have seen someone. She did not want Hu Liancheng to hear the voice over there. She shouted over there, over here. All right, I won't tell you anymore. After saying that, Xianyun hung up the phone. Hu Liancheng's handsome face darkened. His face was full of resentment. There was a rat biting him in his heart. He felt terrible. Who exactly was the person Xianyun wanted to see? Could it be a man? Otherwise, why didn't she tell him? The person who came to fetch her seemed to be very familiar with her. His intuition told him that he was also a man. Furthermore, he said that he was about to get on the plane, but Xianyun did not even ask where he was going. She ignored him too much. Sun Feng felt the strong resentment that his boss suddenly released. He could not help but shrink his neck. He now realized that this job was not easy. He didn't know how Special Assistant Cheng had put up with it. Hu Liancheng was angry alone. Seeing that the car was about to drive into his private parking lot, he remembered to call Cheng Mu's. When he heard Cheng Mu say that it was Fang Zhanran who came to pick Xianyun up, Hu Liancheng was not in a good mood. Fang Zhanran was his #1 love rival. He had always surrounded Xianyun. Xianyun did not reject him. Furthermore, it was said that Fang Zhanran had repeatedly mentioned that he wanted to be the father of Xianyun's child. He did not mind at all. Xianyun actually met him privately again. They even arranged to meet someone together. The more Hu Liancheng thought about it, the more shocked he became. At this moment, he wished that he could put on wings and fly back to Green Lake to stop Xianyun. At that time, Xianyun and Fang Zhanran were driving to the Huazong Music Academy in Qingshu City. Professor Yu, a famous piano professor in the country, asked her to meet up. This Professor Yu was also Fang Zhanran's mentor. He heard Fang Zhanran mention Xianyun time and time again. The last time he saw Xianyun's video, he was shocked. After knowing that Xianyun wanted to continue playing the piano, he deliberately broke the rules and accepted Xianyun as his last disciple. Xianyun came to see Professor Yu today. This time, they naturally had a good chat. Professor Yu was a highly respected old man. He was very satisfied with Xianyun's talent and promised Xianyun that after she gave birth, her body would recover. She could come to him to study. Xianyun had been learning piano since she was young. If it was not for Xu Haiyang, she would not have gone to King Hu University. Instead, she could have been playing the piano all the time and go international like Fang Zhanran. Later on, when something happened at home, she had to rely on herself to earn money. So she stopped thinking about becoming a pianist. However, after experiencing those things, she found that her status was still too low. It was so low that everyone could humiliate her wantonly. So at that time, she secretly swore that she would stand at the top of the world. Only when she herself reached the top would she not be despised by others. It was almost 11:30 when she came out of Professor Ah's office. Professor Yu wanted to let Jian Yun and Fang Jianren have dinner, but he had something to do and left. Jian Yun and Fang Jianren left together. Jian Yun was now in the late stage of pregnancy. Her stomach was big and she could not eat much at a time, but she was hungry after a while. Once she was hungry, she would feel unwell. So when the two of them came out, they prepared to eat at a small restaurant next to the music academy. This restaurant looked clean and tidy, almost full of people who looked like students. When Jian Yun and Fang Jianren came in, they attracted a lot of people's attention. Someone immediately recognized Fang Jianren and screamed and surrounded them. This time, the students pushed Jian Yun to the side. She was afraid of falling and quickly retreated. Fang Jianren was anxious and also wanted to go out. Helplessly, the students surrounding him were too enthusiastic. When he broke free from the crowd and chased out, he suddenly found Jian Yun had disappeared. Fang Jianren became anxious. He quickly looked around for Jian Yun. The students who followed him were also looking for Jian Yun. Fortunately, one of the students had sharp eyes. He immediately noticed a figure at the door of a candy store not far away. Great God, Fang, is that lady the person you are looking for? Fang Jianren quickly ran over and looked at Jian Yun, who was drooling at the candied fruits. He angrily tapped her forehead with his finger. You ran away without saying hello. You want to kill me? I saw that you were surrounded by so many people. You didn't have time to talk to me. I just came out for a walk. Jian Yun touched her forehead and looked innocent. Then she pointed at the candied fruits and said to Fang Jianren, Great God, Fang, treat me to the candied fruits. Jian Yun had thrown her wallet and phone into Fang Jianren's car. Otherwise, she would not have stood here and watched, but did not buy it. This was also the reason why Fang Jianren was afraid. He was afraid that he could not find Jian Yun, and Jian Yun did not have the money to take the car back. Girl, did you get pregnant and become stupid? Why do you forget your sex so much now? Fang Jianren said angrily, but even though he said it, he still bought a string of candied fruits for Jian Yun. His eyes were full of love. Jian Yun had been drooling for a long time. No matter what Fang Jianren said, she picked up the candied fruits and started chewing. Those students who came over curiously stared at Fang Jianren and Jian Yun. Some people could not help but ask about their relationship. She is my sister, Fang Jianren said very naturally. Professor Yu had already accepted Jian Yun as his last disciple. So Jian Yun was his junior sister. He was right. Wow, God Fang's family's genes are good. Your sister is so pretty, a student exclaimed. However, why do I feel that God Fang's sister looks familiar? I seem to have seen her somewhere before. I also feel that she looks familiar. Seeing the students staring at Jian Yun with all their might, Fang Jianren was afraid that Jian Yun would cause another unnecessary sensation after everyone recognized her. He hurriedly pushed her, who was only focused on eating the candied fruits, forward. Let's go. Students quickly go and eat. Fang Jianren appeared to be smiling, but in fact, he was extremely nervous in his heart. Fang Jianren was going to take Jian Yun to another quiet place to eat, but he did not want someone to knock on the window as soon as they got into the car. Jian Yun bit the candied gourd and saw it was Cheng Mu's. She immediately squinted her eyes and smiled. She asked, Why are you here? I want to protect you. Someone is afraid that you will be kidnapped by someone with bad intentions. Cheng Mu smiled like a fox. He opened the door and sat in the car. He asked Fang Jianren with a smile, Mr. Fang, do you mind if I eat with you? Fang Jianren smiled. Of course, I don't mind. But when he turned his head, his face darkened. If it wasn't for his mother interfering with his relationship with Jian Yun, he would be the one with Jian Yun now. If he married Jian Yun, he wouldn't hurt her like Hu Liancheng did. Although Fang Jianren thought so, he still sympathized with Jian Yun's encounter. He found a restaurant nearby, and the three of them had a simple meal. In less than half an hour, they had finished their meal. Fang Jianren went to pay the bill. Cheng Mu's called for a car, and Jian Yun walked to the door of the restaurant for a walk. However, when Jian Yun walked to the door of the restaurant, she was suddenly hit from behind. Before she could react, she felt someone holding her. Jian Yun was already so scared that her heart was beating wildly. Although the person who hit her just now did not have much strength, however, there were steps in front of her. If she slipped and fell, the consequences would be unimaginable. Thinking of this, Jian Yun felt a lingering fear. She subconsciously raised her head and wanted to thank the person who helped her. Thank you. But Jianyun immediately realized that something was wrong. From the moment that person supported her, he had been tightly grabbing onto her. She wanted to break free, but he grabbed even tighter. At the same time, she heard a low and cold voice. If you don't want to get hurt, don't move. Come with me. Who are you? I don't know you. Jianyun's eyes revealed fear. She desperately wanted to retreat, but that person's hand was like an iron clamp that held her immobile. At this moment, she also saw that this person was wrapped in an assault jacket and covered his entire body tightly. Only a pair of triangle-shaped eyes that flashed with hostility were exposed outside. The man seemed to see that Jianyun wanted to call for help. A dagger immediately popped out of his hand and pressed against her pregnant belly. His eyes revealed an ominous glint as he threatened. Do you dare to call for help? No, please don't hurt my child. I won't call for help. Jianyun was very scared. She did not dare to move because she did not dare to risk Cho's safety. She could only watch helplessly as the man held her hand tightly and pushed her onto a car parked by the road. There was another person in the car. He was small and skinny. He was also covered from head to toe. He was wearing a big mask and his huge sunglasses covered most of his face. When Jianyun was pushed into the car, he looked back and quickly started the car. Jianyun's heart was pounding. She tried hard to calm herself down. Who are you? Why did you kidnap me? This is against the law. Do you want money? I can give you money. Shut up. The one who spoke was the man who pushed Jianyun into the car. He was also sitting in the back seat, still tightly holding onto Jianyun's arm, as if he was afraid that she would run away. Who are you guys? Jianyun began to feel fear. If she was not pregnant, she could still struggle. But now she was pregnant. She was afraid that if she struggled, she might hurt the baby. So she didn't dare to move at all. But if she didn't resist, she could only let these two take her to an unknown place. How did she know that these two people weren't perverted killers? The person beside her had a dagger in his hand. Wasn't she going to die for sure? But no matter how Jianyun asked, these two people's mouths were tightly shut. No one paid attention to Jianyun. However, Jianyun felt a trace of familiar aura from the person driving the car. Yes, she felt that person seemed to dislike her very much. Could it be that he was someone she knew? Jianyun forced herself to calm down. At this time, she could not panic. Even if these two people were perverted killers, she needed to be more careful. There might be a chance to escape successfully. Thinking about this, Jianyun did not ask any more questions. She kept looking outside the car window all the way, and she was memorizing the route. The car drove for half an hour and specially picked remote places to walk all the way around. Clearly, these two people did not want their whereabouts to be discovered by others. An hour later, the car stopped in front of an abandoned house in the outskirts of King City. Get off the car. The man who escorted Jianyun pushed Jianyun off the car. Jianyun tightly protected her stomach and did not resist at all. Go in. The man pushed Jianyun into the rundown house again. Jianyun had always obediently cooperated with him. After entering the house, Jianyun found that the house looked dilapidated from the outside, but there was something else inside. It was actually the house in the middle, and there was everything in the house. The furniture was everything. At this time, there was a person sitting on the sofa beside the burning fireplace. He held a tall glass in his hand and looked at the red wine inside. It's you? When Jianyun saw that person's appearance, she instantly took a step back in shock. Her eyes revealed a shocked expression, and her hands subconsciously tightened. How could it be Hu Chengfeng? Wasn't he caught? She had never heard of him escaping from prison. We meet again, Miss Yunduo. Hu Chengfeng heard Jianyun's voice and looked away from the red wine glass to Jianyun's face. The corner of his mouth curled up, and he looked as elegant as usual. But when Jianyun saw his smile, she felt a chill run down her spine. Although Hu Chengfeng was smiling, his eyes were pitch black. It was like the darkness before the dawn of winter. It was covered with a layer of bone-chilling frost that made people shiver. You are not. Jianyun was terrified. Because of her nervousness, her back was stiff. Hu Chengfeng shook the red wine glass again. He narrowed his eyes and revealed a strange smile. I am not what? Jianyun suddenly realized how scary the man in front of her was. Hu Chengfeng was completely paranoid. He suddenly appeared in Qinghe. He definitely did not come just to reminisce with her. Especially at this time, he should be in prison but could come out without anyone knowing. Jianyun bit her lips and told herself in her heart to calm down. But how could she calm down? At this moment, huge waves had already stirred up in her heart, because she suddenly thought of a problem. Did Hu Liancheng and the others know about this matter? if even Hu Liancheng and Cheng Mu's didn't know that Hu Chengfeng had escaped. Hu Chengfeng was a terrifying man. Hu Chengfeng narrowed his eyes and fixed his gaze on Jian Yun. She had clearly seen that he was too shocked, but still managed to maintain her composure. The mysterious smile on her face grew wider. He gestured to the man who was grabbing Jian Yun. Lin Delong, don't be so rude. Let go of Miss Yunduo. Yes. The man hurriedly let go of Jian Yun when he heard that. Jian Yun's wrist was already hurting badly, but she did not make a sound. She only used her eyes to stare at the tightly wrapped man in front of her. Lin Delong, just now Hu Chengfeng called the man who kidnapped her Lin Delong. Jian Yun tried her best to maintain her calm expression, but it was almost broken. Her eyes were full of shock and shock. If this Lin Delong was the one she knew, so he was the dangerous man who had nearly killed her mother, and the most wanted man on the internet who had been involved in a rape and murder case. Why is Ms. Yunduo staring at Lin Delong all the time? He is dressed like this. What can you tell? Hu Chengfeng was still sitting on the sofa. He was dressed in a well-ironed suit. Other than being a little skinnier, he looked a little haggard. There was a thick black color that could not be concealed in front of his eyes. He looked no different from the way Jian Yun had seen him a few times in the past. He was a gentleman and elegant. Moreover, he looked very similar to Hu Liancheng. If it wasn't for his wicked smile, Jian Yun would have felt like she was seeing Hu Liancheng at first glance. Jian Yun lowered her head and did not respond, but her eyes were rolling desperately. At this moment, her heart was full of shock. She did not know why Lin Delong was with Hu Chengfeng. Could it be that the reason the police could not catch Lin Delong for so long was because he was protected by Hu Chengfeng? But why did Hu Chengfeng protect Lin Delong? Lin Delong had appeared now and kidnapped her. What was his purpose? While they were talking, Hu Chengfeng raised his hand. He seemed to be indicating for Lin Delong to take off his clothes. Jian Yun quickly glanced at him. Then she lowered her eyes when she saw Lin Delong's triangular-shaped eyes. When Jian Yun and Lin Lanlin were best friends, they often met Lin Delong. However, she did not like this big boy who was only a few years older than her, because he had dropped out of school early and followed a group of hooligans outside. He did not do anything serious, and only knew how to fight and create trouble. This was intolerable for Jian Yun, who had always been a good student. The most important reason was that Lin Delong had harassed her, so Jian Yun had always avoided Lin Delong and did not have a good impression of him. Later on, when Lin Rong entered the house and Jian Yun and Ouyang Fei were kicked out by Jian Dongming, she had never seen Lin Delong again. Later, it was Ouyang Fei who was seriously injured and almost died. When the police found out that Lin Delong was the most suspicious, Jian Yun recalled Lin Delong from her memory again. Lin Delong took off his mask and revealed a fierce face. His cheekbones were very high, his cheeks were sunken, and he had buck teeth. His eyes were triangular. He looked straight at people. The first look made him feel very uncomfortable. However, Jian Yun's eyes did not stop on Lin Delong's face. She was looking at the skinny man who had just driven over with Lin Delong. He was also taking off his mask and sunglasses that almost covered half of his face, revealing a face that Jian Yun would never forget for the rest of her life. Lin Lanlin. It was actually Lin Lanlin. Jian Yun's eyes suddenly widened. She could not hide her shock anymore. Lin Lanlin and Lin Delong. Why were these two together with Hu Chengfeng? What was the purpose of Hu Chengfeng asking them to kidnap her here? After Lin Lanlin took off her disguise, she glared at Jian Yun hatefully, and did not hide the hatred in her eyes anymore. Especially when her eyes fell on Jian Yun's pregnant belly, it was filled with a venomous coldness. Jian Yun subconsciously protected her pregnant belly. She turned her head to look at Hu Chengfeng and coldly asked, "Mr. Hu, what do you want?" Hu Chengfeng had been looking at Jian Yun all this time. When he saw Jian Yun looking over, he raised his hand and did not answer Jian Yun's question. Instead, he pointed at Lin Lanlin and said with a smile, "Why did you think she looked very similar to you back then? Today, I saw you guys clearly do not look alike at all." Jian Yun heard this and frowned. She did not think that Hu Chengfeng kidnapped her just to see if she and Lin Lanlin looked like each other. "Mr. Hu, I do not know how you came out, but don't worry. As long as you do not hurt me, I will not tell anyone about you." Jian Yun could only show her attitude now. She knew very well that she was outside the restaurant. When she was escorted to the car, she saw Cheng Mu's chasing her. Lin Lanlin drove around randomly to get rid of Cheng Mu's. Now Jian Yun could only try her best to stall for time. However, when Hu Chengfeng heard these words, he only raised his eyes to look at Jian Yun. The corner of his mouth revealed a playful smile. At this time, he also put down the red wine cup and got up to walk in front of Jian Yun. He was very tall, about the same height as Hu Liancheng. Jian Yun only reached his shoulder. So when he got closer, Jian Yun had to raise her head to see his face clearly. The ki on his body was also very aggressive, like Hu Liancheng. She did not like this feeling. Hu Chengfeng gave her a very dangerous feeling. She subconsciously took a step back. What's wrong? Afraid of me? Hu Chengfeng reached out and hooked Jian Yun's chin. Hu Chengfeng's hand was bone-piercingly cold. When it touched Jian Yun's chin, it was like a poisonous snake had climbed up. It made her shiver and goosebumps appeared on her back. Mr. Hu, please take care of yourself. Jian Yun turned her head and wanted to struggle away, but Hu Chengfeng's hand was very tight. He pulled her face back and forced her to look at him. Take care of yourself? Haven't you already divorced Hu Liancheng? Speaking of which, I can pursue you now. Hu Chengfeng smiled, but his eyes were still cold, without a trace of a smile. Mr. Hu loves to joke. I am a pregnant woman who abandoned my wife. How can I get close to a dragon among men like Mr. Hu? Jian Yun felt her hair stand on end when she saw Hu Chengfeng face to face at such a close distance. However, she could not break free from Hu Chengfeng's grip. She did not dare to resist, because resistance at this time was like hitting a rock with an egg. Putting aside the fact that she could not beat Hu Chengfeng, Jian Yun was sure that she could not beat him. Furthermore, next to Huo Chengfeng was Lin Delong, who had been running for his life ever since Lin Delong took off his mask. He kept staring at her fiercely, making Jian Yun feel cold on her back. Therefore, she had no intention of resisting. But I like you, and I don't mind being the father of your child. After all, if you calculate carefully, I am also related to him. According to seniority, he also has to call me uncle. Hu Chengfeng laughed even more wildly. After he finished speaking, he also saw Jian Yun's expression change. Mr. Hu, uncle is uncle. How can he be a father? Jian Yun pulled the corner of her mouth and revealed a stiff smile. She gently pushed Hu Chengfeng's hand and asked tentatively, Mr. Hu? Can you let me go first? You hurt me. Hu Chengfeng narrowed his eyes and stared at Jian Yun for a long time. Just when Jian Yun's hair stood on end, when he stared at her. While her heart was beating wildly, he suddenly grinned and revealed a strange smile. At the same time, he loosened his grip on Jian Yun's chin.